What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise live here on a Thursday night, aka Free Agent Eve. Is that what we're calling it? Free Agency Eve?
Sure.
I didn't really think about what we're calling today, but basically, it's the calm before the storm, Eric, is what today is. As tomorrow, free agency kicks off. We'll have a live stream on the main channel covering every signing that goes down tomorrow night. We're going to be live for like 8 hours. It's going to be a marathon. We're going to have you covered with everything that happens, not only with your Portland Trailblazers, but also across the league. And I'm looking forward to it. Today, we are going to preview free agency. We're going to talk about the biggest storylines. We'll cover some of the NBA, but of course, we're going to focus on the Portland Trailblazers. And we'll talk about some of the latest trade rumors. James Harden opts into his deal and wants a trade because of it. He wants a trade as part of it. So we'll talk about where he might land. That's an interesting little wrinkle to this saga. Little storyline to pay attention to tomorrow night. And I'm just ready to get things going. I got Krish on helping me with the graphics as we speak. Krish, by the way. I need to message him back. I reminded himself. Anyway, Eric, how are you doing? How are you feeling with such a monumental day tomorrow?
Feel hot because I had to turn the AC off in my room for the stream. But other than that, I'm usually fairly excited going into these things. I'm way more worried than I normally am. And I just, until the Blazers pull it off or do something worthy of being excited about, I can't get excited about something that so far in the history of the 4 years doing this has not led to many exciting or positive moments.
Yeah, I'll get into my expectations in a little bit. But first off, the stream is brought to you by BetOnline. Use the promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, for a 50% reward bonus over at BetOnline. You can get in on any sport that is going on right now. I know it's kind of the dog days of summer, but there's still sports going on. I don't know. When is bowling season, Eric? I wonder if you can. I don't know if you can bet on bowling
season, right?
Yeah. Maybe you can bet on bowling. I don't know. I haven't looked into if you can bet on bowling, but that seems pretty fun, right? So check out BetOnline. Use that promo code BELIEVE. BOEAV. NASCAR's going on. Shout out to Joey, one of the few people that watch NASCAR with me in this community. And baseball's going on right now. Your Reds are on a tear, and my Mariners are making me tear up because they suck again. So, that's fun. Thank you to BetOnline. Best BetOnline ad read in the history of BetOnline. There we go. Shout out to Elias, $5 donut, says, in 24 hours, I wonder what the Blazers roster will look like. Honestly, man, I have a feeling it's going to look relatively similar to how it does now. And I'll get into why. Thank you, Elias, for the $5 dono. Can only do so much with the $5 dono. By the way, I love your username. It says, first dono, lost my mom recently due to a tragic event. Blazers content has been my escapism. Thank you for all that you do and hoping we keep Dame. I'm so sorry to hear that, man. My thoughts are with you. Hopefully you're doing all right. Yeah. Thank you for the dono. Appreciate you. We're glad to provide that escape for you.
Freaking Joe Cronin do something to help keep Cannoli do so much mind out of tragedy. Come on.
Yeah. Thank you to Rip City 208 with a $5 dono. Says, rumors are Blazers are interested in Eric Gordon. Cronin's dream of a 5-guard lineup is so close. We're trying, guys. We're trying for that 5-guard. I mean, if you play all guards, aren't you allowed to have a 6th one on the court?
I don't know.
Is that the rule? Is that what Cronin is thinking?
I feel like this is just like trolling Blazer fans on purpose at this point. Like anytime a guard is available, it's like, oh, we got to mention the Blazers, right?
Yeah. I don't buy the Eric Gordon stuff. I don't buy it.
Oh yeah. Well,
I don't buy it.
I mean, well, if we do go the super rebuild route, he doesn't make sense. I'm sure he doesn't want another Houston situation. And then I don't know, like he doesn't, even if we trade Ant, he doesn't really make sense. Yeah, I don't know. I guess he's a vet, like Joey says. Yeah.
Yeah, that's who Dame's talking about. Eric Gordon. That'll fix it.
Like, for the people saying I should be positive or whatever. Okay, so like, we get super excited for these streams. Like, we have the full mid-level exception a couple of years ago, and what do? We sign freaking Derek Jones, right? And then we don't use him. Derek freaking Jones, and you throw your hat, right? Yeah,
that was a fun stream. Yeah.
And then like trade deadline this year, we're talking about like, oh, Blazers are gonna go for it, and instead you're like, watch us trade for freaking Kevin Knox, and then we freaking trade for freaking Kevin Knox, right? There's not been that many moments where it's just like, yes, what a move! That was an awesome trade. Let's go.
The timing of that was phenomenal.
Yeah, but like, so it's always like, oh, watch Tori and Eric react in like misery at these stupid moves we make most of the time, right?
And then we get called Mr. Negative, and it's like, well, I mean, what do we have to show for it? Yeah.
We signed Gary Payton, who turns out to be injured, and we're like, this kind of, it's not as great. I mean, he's a good defender, but he's not the perfect fit, and he's a guard, and we got hard cap because of it, and then we're like, oh, you guys are so negative. We just got like the best player in the NBA.
Yeah. I mean, here's when Tori called Kevin Knox, and then I called Chris Murray. Yeah. And Cam Reddish, the Blazers, we'll talk about the qualifying offers. Cam Reddish didn't get one, but Matisse Thybulle got one. And even John Butler got one, and Ibu Baji got one. Cam Reddish didn't get one. So it looks like that experiment is already over.
I was pumping up for Baji, not for Cam Reddish. Not kidding.
Yeah. Here's how I look at things going into tomorrow. We are basically at the point where I don't think it's realistic for Joe Cronin to pull off a move that's really good. Like, I'm sitting here hoping for Draymond Green.
I mean,
if we get Draymond Green, he'd have to get super lucky. I'm hoping for Draymond Green, and it would involve trading Anthony Simons out, and like Draymond Green's 33. If it keeps Dame in Portland, I'm happy. You know, like I'll be excited if we do it because it'll keep Dame in Portland, but it's more so because it'll keep Dame in Portland, you know? And it'll just be interesting to see that dude on our team the next 3 years, and maybe he'll help us defensively and kind of balances the roster, but
he definitely fixed that problem we've had the last couple of years, that toughness / just a guy who gets in people's faces, and maybe to a detriment at times, but like he'll definitely set the tone in that regard. So
yeah,
that might...
but we're probably going to have to overpay for him in order to get him, and then we're going to have to sign and trade Simons out. I dropped a whole video on it on the main channel. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not going to be a move where it's like, just looking at it, oh yeah, that's definitely good.
Yeah.
But that's kind of that's like my best dream right now. I mean, what can they realistically do that's really good? Because I don't see them realistically being able to go get OG Anunoby in a good trade. If they get OG Anunoby, they're giving up Simons and like 3 firsts because Ujiri's insane. They're not going to go out and get Siakam. And here's the thing, even if they get both those guys, I am not confident that either guy would stay past this year. Like, it's extremely, extremely risky. And I don't know if it's just so iffy. Like, I'm kind of going into tomorrow not scared or not even negative, because realistically, I just don't see how this team is going to pull off a great move. In years past, it's always like, oh, what if they could do this, and what if they could do that, and this might be possible, and, you know, Jaylen Brown going into the draft, and, like, it's always a bunch of hope because certain things might be possible that are really good moves. At this point, going into tomorrow, I don't know what they can realistically do, but I am excited to truly, maybe, finally, for some people, have some sort of conclusion upon Joe Cronin. But you know what people will say? Oh, he doesn't have much available. Well, that's why I was complaining after the draft, and people were saying, well, wait till free agency, and I wasn't buying it because it's just going to move. The goalposts are probably going to get moved. It was wait till free agency, and I was sitting there saying that I don't think there's going to be anything drastic in free agency. So if we drafted a point guard with the third pick, some youth, that's why I thought that the draft was the time to choose the direction. So now we're going into free agency that people were waiting for. Just wait to see what Cronin has planned, right? I think it'll become, Cronin didn't have anything available in free agency either. He had nothing available for the third pick, nothing available in free agency, and basically Cronin couldn't do anything is going to be the narrative coming out of this. But, I'm just excited to see if he can maybe shock us. I'm excited to see where Harden maybe gets traded. I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm not going into tomorrow with a negative mindset. I'm just trying to go into tomorrow realistically, realizing that any good move is a pipe dream that probably will have a downside.
Yeah, I'm looking at it kind of similar, but I'd put it this way. I think the move is going to be somewhat lateral, somewhat in a vacuum, not worth giving up Ant for, but it'll be at a position we need that player to be a forward versus a guard, so it'll make sense why the Blazers did it, but value wise, it's not really maximizing your assets. But yeah,
it's like Anthony Simons for Cam Johnson, an example of that.
That is the perfect example. It's I mean, I know some people try to tell me Cam Johnson's worth more than Anthony Simons. Maybe he is, but I mean, in my opinion, Anthony is going to be tremendous on whatever team he goes on. So yeah, that's the perfect example. That's my prediction as of right now. What is going to happen is that we just make a trade like that, and it kind of helps both teams, but it's kind of a weird way to make it work. I don't know if it makes us really that much better instead of, we have our starting forward set, I guess, if we re-sign Jeremy. And, Dame likes Cameron Johnson because he's a Phil Beckner guy. So, that probably helps us. And then you need to make sure you solidify the bench. But, I mean, are we super excited about winning a championship or something, or contending with Dame with just that move and a few bench moves?
No, because here's why. You're not fixing the defense by getting Cam Johnson. I know that, here's Sharp and Scoot, you cannot expect them to be anything above below average defenders next year. People want to hype up Sharp's defense, but I think it's more so because he had highlight blocks and because he's bigger for a guard and athletic. And he had some awful moments defensively last year that it has to drastically improve for him to be a help on that end.
Most of his blocks were just reaction, using your athleticism to get somewhere quick enough to get there. It wasn't necessarily because he was in the right spot and just happened to be there. It's recovering fast on a fast break or something, a chase down block, or coming from the weak side to get someone driving down the lane. Those are good signs, but yeah, he definitely has to improve his awareness of ball.
Yeah, and here's the thing, because I know my comments will get misinterpreted. I'm not saying he can't be an above-average defender next year. DJ Vega says the potential is there for him defensively. Yeah, the potential is there. That's why I'm not going to rule out him becoming an above-average defender next year. I'm just saying expectation shouldn't be that. You shouldn't expect that.
Yeah.
Based on what he showed you last year. That would be an optimistic outcome. It's not one that you should just expect. Scoot has a lot of defensive potential as well, but he was very hit or miss in the G League, and now he's going to be guarding much better players. And if he's playing next to Dame, which he will, if Dame's still here, he's going to be guarding two guards. Granted, I think Dame can guard bigger players okay. He defends well in the low post. Maybe it's Dame who will be guarding shooting guard. I don't know. But, I wouldn't expect Scoot as a rookie who was kind of hit or miss in the G League last year to just make the jump to the NBA and be good defensively right away. Usually guards of that size are not good defenders their rookie year. So if the move is Anthony Simons for Cam Johnson is more of a team defender. help defender, won't make mistakes off ball, right? Like, that's how I view him defensively. I don't view him as, like, the... Go ahead.
He rates pretty well on ball, screen navigation, stuff like that.
But he ain't a stopper.
It's surprisingly better than you would think. So
he's the
slightly above
type
average.
Yeah, but he's the type of guy who's like your second or third on-ball defender in the lineup.
Right. Yeah, that's the problem. He's not like a lockdown pest on the point of attack, and he's not like a rim protector type. So
yeah,
it's good to have, but it's not going to be the answer like a Draymond could possibly do.
Well, I'll talk a little bit about why Draymond is kind of the outlier. With Cam, when they played the Mavericks, when they lost in the semifinals in 2022, every time Cam Johnson got switched on to Luka Doncic, he got torched. Like, he just couldn't slow him down at all. And I know it's Luka Doncic, and I mean, who's going to slow him down, right? Like, you had Mikhail, and Mikhail, like...
Yeah, everyone did in that series.
Yeah, but the problem is they switched a lot, and Cam Johnson just got absolutely cooked. Like, he's not the type of guy who I look at as a guy that can slow down stars. And that's what the Blazers need. They need a guy that you can put up against a star, and he has a chance of slowing down that perimeter star. At least, containing dribble penetration a little bit, and then when they do get beat, making it hard for that guy to get all the way to the rim or slowing them up enough so the big man can rotate in time to help, because that's a big thing when you've lost a step on a guy driving, is battling them enough to slow them down enough to give your big man time to help you. Otherwise, the driver is just beating your big man to the backboard, or it becomes, a 2-on-1. It's either a layup or a dump off pass. So in that regard, against like quicker guards, because that's the thing. I mean, the Blazers need a versatile on-ball stopper who can guard up the lineup. I don't think Cam Johnson is keeping up with that, so that's why like it's not solving the problems, in my opinion. It's not solving the point of attack defender. It's not giving the Blazers what they need. Hopefully Matisse Thybulle can be that, but who are you going to bench down the stretch if you need that in the game? Right? Like, who are you benching for Matisse Thybulle? Matisse Thybulle is, if he was good, better offensively, like, okay, sure, but given his offensive limitations, it's just iffy.
Yeah, because you're talking about having to bench two of Sharp, Cam, Scoot, two of those guys to play Thybulle.
Yeah. It's just a weird roster construction. It's not optimal. It's not optimal. That's not even getting into like the Dame Scoot fit or whatever, but just defensively, like Cam Johnson, he's nice, he's good offensively, like Dame wants him. So that's the thing with tomorrow, is at least half of my feelings on moves will be like, okay, will this make Dame happy enough? Which is kind of weird, because normally it's like, how do we build the best team possible? But at this point, like, I'd be happy if we swapped Ant for Cam Johnson, because that would say to me that, Dame's staying.
Well, the flip side of that is then they can just re-sign Thybulle, Grant, and maybe make another small move and stay under the tax pretty easily, because assuming that Cam's contract is somewhat close to Ant, so you're just basically replacing it. So that might be their play, is they can get Cam Johnson, but they can still be cheap. So that might not be the best scenario in terms of going all in,
I mean, I'm expecting them to still be cheap.
Yeah,
I mean, that is what I'm expecting. And you hope that down the line, like, this team is willing to make a splash trade if it presents itself. Like a true splash trade to get you to that next step. Because a lot of the people that just want to, quote unquote, you've made this a thing now, Eric, quote unquote, rip off the Band-Aid. See, we got people in chat saying it. For the people that, criticize the idea of keeping Dame, it's like, oh, well, we're not going to be a contender next year out of free agency. The thing is, you don't have to be a contender out of free agency to be a contender at the end of the year. Moves are made at the deadline all the time. So you're basically balancing the roster, hopefully making it competitive enough to be in the thick of things, which the Blazers were like 2.5 games out fourth at the deadline with all the problems they had last year. So they can definitely, like, keep themselves in a playoff race, in my opinion, because the NBA has a lot of parity now. And then it comes down to, okay, can you get something at the deadline that makes sense? Maybe at that point, you're just like, you know what, screw it. I'll trade OG for a first, right? Like those guys with a year left on their contract, if Toronto's not playing well, all of a sudden, they become trade targets. Now, the problem is half the league would be after OG, but it's not a situation where it has to be a finished product out of free agency, so it's more so for me, I want to keep Dame. You guys know I want to keep Dame. That's kind of just what I'm hoping for out of tomorrow is confidence that we're keeping Dame.
Yeah, see, my problem is I don't have confidence, even if we pull off that Cam Johnson trade, that Cronin can fill out the bench properly, because we'll probably then just re-sign Eubanks to be the backup center, right? And he won't be creative with any other moves. And, like Winslow will be back as our 10th man, and assuming he's medically cleared. So... And then
I'm past the point of worrying about that because I just foresee that.
Yeah, but then this is my problem. We get to the deadline. We've known now for 2 deadlines. I mean, the first one was a teardown, so I guess you can't do that. But he didn't do a good job of identifying talent on the roster, overvalued a Keon Johnson in a trade, so he hasn't shown the ability to go out and get those moves done to shore up weaknesses. In fact, every move he's made has seemed like it's to further increase strengths, not weaknesses, So I don't have any faith that any of this would happen. Therefore, that's why the rip the Band-Aid off thing started, because if it's going to be another wait until the trade deadline thing, I cannot deal with it right now. I'd rather just move on and start over, because this is getting freaking crazy that we're giving this guy this many chances to say wait till next time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not at the point where I want to move off of Dame because of that. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing, any route is suboptimal. There is no route where it's like, oh yeah, that's realistic, and I have faith in Cronin pulling it off, and it's a good route. I am resigned at this point. You know what I mean? I am resigned to the fact that no matter which way this team goes, I don't realistically see a path that's great. If we rip the Band-Aid off, that could mean another 4 or 5 years of losing, and not even a contender at the end of the tunnel. That is very possible. You know what I mean? And then it's like, oh man, can we ever make the playoffs? All of a sudden, we've missed the playoffs for 7 years in a row. That's very possible with ripping the Band-Aid off. There's legitimate downsides to any sort of path. I, more than anyone, don't want Drew Eubanks back as the backup center and Justice Winslow back as the 10th man. It is very possible.
Yeah.
I mean, and just whatever route it is very possible. So for me, I enjoy watching Damian Lillard in a Blazer uniform.
Yeah.
I want Damian Lillard to mentor Scoot Henderson. At the very least, that'll be fun. With Shaedon Sharpe taking the next step, at the very least, that'll be fun. If we're going to go the path of just suboptimal crap, I'd rather it be more fun and have Dame on the roster. And I'd rather it be a pathway where Dame's going to retire a Blazer, because I don't really see what the optimal path is at this point. And then you tank, as King says in chat, you tank for Bronny, right? You draft Bronny and you get LeBron. I love that idea.
After we unprotect our pick and then lose out on Braun.
Yeah. Definitive One says, we've been losing anyway. A change is needed. Okay, so we've been losing, so we should continue losing in a different way. Why? Why don't we try and get a little bit better and see what happens at the deadline? Okay. Probably nothing, but if we're going to lose, I want it to be more enjoyable. And I think having Dame to mentor Scoot is a good thing long term.
Yeah, for sure.
So, that's where I'm at. That's why tomorrow I'm not really going into it dreading anything. I'm just kind of like, I'm expecting them to either trade Ant for Cam Johnson in a sign and trade or basically do nothing. I don't really see anything else. Maybe they could pull off Draymond.
Yeah, I guess the ultimate would be getting Draymond from the MLE, which isn't happening either. But then, like, Cronin will get credit for that, but that would be all Dame.
Yeah.
But so 2006, when we drafted Aldridge and Roy, we were bad their first year, obviously. I think we had the fifth or sixth worst record, or tied for the fifth or sixth worst record. And then second year, didn't have Odin, but that team still went 41-41. And then the third season of those guys, they were winning 50-plus games. I'm not saying either Scoot or Sharp can beat Brandon Roy, but there is some possibility that they're good in a year or two.
That involved us, though, getting extremely lucky in the 2007 draft lottery. And we still did not win a playoff series.
Yeah, but, I mean, that was because of injuries. But
yeah, but, I mean, that's the whole thing is, like, you never know.
But winning the lottery didn't help us because Odin only played 61 games that year and 21 or 0.
Yeah, it would have been better if we got the second pick, right? But that's my whole point is, like, rebuilding is just kind of a crapshoot. Like, you don't know how well guys are going to pan out when they're 19. You can have confidence in certain guys, but some guys look great and people think are going to be great, and then they end up being Josh Jackson, or sometimes they end up being Luka Doncic, right? Like, those are two extremes, but it's kind of to illustrate a bigger point. Who got drafted before Luka Doncic? Marvin Bagley.
Yeah.
So who got drafted before Josh Jackson? It was Jason Tatum, I think it was. So it's just a crapshoot. Like, you don't know. Yeah, no clue. Even if Scoot and Sharp pan out, we're kind of back to where we were with Dame and CJ or Dame and Ant, probably.
Yeah.
So I mean, then
obviously, that's the same we're in right now, even with Dame.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my whole point of, like, nothing is truly optimal. So I'm just kind of rolling with wanting to keep Dame, and I want him to retire a Blazer, and I don't know. Maybe Cronin can pleasantly surprise me. I'm not going to expect it, but I mean, I think he's potentially maybe capable. I don't think he's completely helpless like people try and say he is with the offers that he gets on the table.
Yeah. Completely disagree, Andrew. He says if Dame were to leave, he'll end up being LaMarcus Aldridge. He's not going to do that. No, that's not.
What? I mean, that just doesn't even
not
make
even
sense.
close to the same thing.
That doesn't even make sense. Definitive One says, I hope we're all happy this time next year, no matter what route we take. Rebuild could actually work. The other route could too. I hope we get better. I mean, if we're rebuilding, we're going to, this time next year, hopefully we're talking about the number one pick. But we're talking about a draft that's not that great.
What if we're talking about Dame's rookie year where we surprise people, or the year after Aldridge left when we're supposed to be bad, and we talk about making the playoffs or making a run at the playoffs, and it seems like we're ahead of the schedule.
I mean, if we're going to be that optimistic, I just want to keep Dame and try and contend then, it's just super optimistic.
So we're just going to do this crap all over next year with, like, can we barely made the playoffs or we barely missed the playoffs. Can we make a move to make Dame stay again?
I mean, I don't know what next year is going to look like. I'm not worried about next year.
Yeah.
I like the GM has to think about the future when making moves, but I'm worried about tomorrow. I want to keep Dame. I want them to try and improve the roster going into next year. And then we'll see if he does it, or he probably doesn't, and then I'll reassess. Like, for me, there's no point in worrying about anything other than can Joe Cronin make a move to make Dame happy, because even if that's what you don't want, I mean, that's just the only question right now is can Cronin do something? That's the only question. And then if he can't, then you start to question, okay, is Dame actually going to ask out? Like I was expecting him to after the draft, right? And I still think it's a possibility. Or he does something and, okay, well, Dame's staying then, right? That's literally the only questions that in my opinion, are relevant to me, like, right now. I'm not going to worry about, doing it over and over and over again. We're already on that cycle.
Here's why I don't completely have that mindset is because if they don't do much and Dame stays, they once again did like the minimum to keep him happy. And at some point, they have to stop saying they're committed to winning with Dame and putting the best possible team around Dame, because that's BS. So if they're going to do that, if they're just going to do that, then fine. Just say, like, we hope Dame stays, but we're going to do what's best for us from now on. If that's what they're going to do, and I know they're not going to say that, but that's what I want. Is just for them to say Dame is welcome here as long as he wants, but we're going to make every decision from now on as what's best for this team, and he can choose to stay or he can choose to go. That's and we're not going to be a tax team because we're a small market or whatever, like stuff like that. Like, just be upfront. If Dame chooses to leave because of that, then that's fine, but don't just keep saying, oh, we don't have a problem paying the tax, we'll go all in, if after this weekend it's obvious we're never going to be actually committed to doing that.
At this point, I'll clown them for it, but I don't truly care if they keep saying that because we know what it is. I think we already know what it is. I think they're already operating like that. So if their actions are the only thing that can really prove otherwise, so if their actions are proven, I don't care what lip service they're going to say, because they're going to try and sell it like a PR department. And we know what it truly is, so
I don't think that benefits anyone, including Dame. I mean, he can do what he wants. I just don't like the way they say they're committed to him and won't. So
yeah,
hopefully we're talking about how we're blown away and it's not a problem anymore. We're going to be good.
Yeah, I don't like it either, but it is what it is. Like, at this point, like, that's basically the status quo. I don't, they're gonna lie, or they're gonna pitch things that make them look the best, even if it doesn't line up with their actions. And I'll laugh about it. Like, that's ridiculous. Like.
But we can't win that way, unless like Scoot and Sharp all of a sudden become like all NBA level players. And
I mean, you're the one who was saying, like, oh, we're not that far off going offseason. We're 2.5 games out of fourth deadline. Like, if we're a better team than last year.
Yes, but in order to win, like, look at the Kings and the Grizzlies and stuff. Like, when it came time to, like, pay the tax or go all in, like, will those teams make the financial commitment like the Warriors or the Mavericks or whatever the Clippers are willing to do to get how many ever talents on the team? And then with the new CBA, can you also be smart about that and not just like go so far in that you have to dump salary? It's just a lot of things, and this organization, unfortunately, is so inexperienced when it comes to being the man in charge and the owner in charge, that I don't know if they can navigate all that.
Yep. I mean, I think the second tax apron will almost act like a hard cap for the majority of the league.
For sure.
So, I mean, yes, I agree with everything you're saying, but we're talking about a gap in like 15 million, between the tax and the basically what will be a hard cap for most of the league. So, if they're passing down a good move because it puts them into the tax when it doesn't trigger a repeater tax because they've ducked the tax enough in previous years and they elect not to do it, then, it's frustrating, because it doesn't line up with their words. But, I mean, I I would expect that. Like,
okay, let me.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing though too is if we're talking about rebuilds, we've done this the last 2 years, right? Mm-hmm. And we've gotten Shaden Sharp and Scoot Henderson out of it.
Yeah.
Is it really that bad for to rebuild, but not say you're rebuilding, but truly are kind of rebuilding, but keep like we've gotten Scoot and Shaden out of it.
Yeah, but it's hard to maximize those players while also still trying to win with other. So let me ask you a question then.
Is it the question in chat?
No. This is just
something. I want to respond to that.
Oh, go ahead then.
So Eric says, but question for Tori, if Dame wants to stay, can young guys flourish in your opinion? You really think Dame could take a step back for those to develop? Dame doesn't have to take a step back for those guys to develop. As a mentor, Dame will be good for those guys, right? Like, in his players in the NBA, unless you're like Luka freaking Doncic, but even Luka, you gotta learn how to play off the ball and play next to other high caliber players. Like, Luka's big problem is he hasn't really done that. So if you pair a star next to him, it's just like, okay, Kyrie next to him. That didn't work out at all because Luka can't play off him. The team's worse when Luka doesn't have the ball in his hands. It's noticeably worse, even if you put it in Kyrie's hands. Mm. So you got to learn how to play next to other high-caliber players and play next to stars.
I'm just going off Dame's a great mentor. Dame's amazing leader, all that stuff, but he specifically said he didn't want to do that crap again next year. So like,
we're forcing him. Decision.
I know he'll do it, and he'll be great at it again. It's just like, I don't really want to have all these people who I have to mentor. I want people that I know I can count on these situations. I don't have to like teach them how to be that in that situation, and then we just get more people that he has to mentor. Like that's where my problem is.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. And I don't want to sound like Joe Cronin because I clowned him for this comment, but Scoot is a smart player. Scoot makes good reads.
He's 6'2".
Yeah, he's 6'2". But if we're just talking about like mentoring guys on intricacies of the game, I think Scoot is more ahead than maybe anybody else in the draft class. Like, his playmaking took a jump in his second year in the G League. A lot of, he's been playing with an NBA 3-point line, right? Because we talk about his shooting, and but he's been shooting from an NBA 3-point line, playing with pros, just one step below for 2 years, one step below the NBA level. Like, I think he is a little bit ahead of. I think he'll be noticeably ahead of where Sharp was, and Dame was sitting there saying Sharp's the exception. Like, I don't know. The fit's questionable. But, the fit's questionable, but in terms of I don't know. Like, that's where I want to see that with Dame and just see what it looks like.
What if we sign a guard like Eric Gordon with the MLE tomorrow?
I'll laugh my ass off and say this dude is. I will roast Joe Cronin for it. Absolutely. Okay. And people say, "Oh, you hate him. He's a good vet." Blah, 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 blah. Like, yes, we can play. What if? What if he signs Nerlens Noel to the mid-level exception? Like, shoot, he might sign. Wait, Eric. He might actually sign Drew Eubanks to the mid-level exception for all we know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't need to sign him to the mid-level exception.
But Cronin might just want to because it's his guy,
like $12 million a year without using an exception, so that would be.
Well, he'll
funny.
offer the extra $0.2 million, or no, I don't. It's early bird rights. Yeah, you're right. But
it's gonna be like $6 million a year. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean.
So, here's my worry. Okay, let's say we do re-sign Eubanks, right? And he's our backup center. And we get into the season. We're like 2 months in. We still have that trade exception because we didn't use it, right? We have just enough money under the luxury tax, or not the tax, but the hard cap, to go get someone using that trade exception, right? San Antonio calls and says, we'll give you Zach Collins for a second-round pick, right? And the Blazers turn it down because they don't want to be a tax team. Like, that kind of stuff seems like it is possible. And, like, we're just not going to like make a move because of financial restrictions.
I mean, yes, that's definitely possible. I just don't really understand right now worrying about such a detailed, random hypothetical in the season.
I'm just saying, like, that's if you're not committed to doing that now, like Daniel Gafford, for example, right? Like, a team could have traded him for cheap and gotten him at a lower salary. It's just like, I just don't know if that's going to be ever the case where the team will make a move like that hurts financially, but it gives you so much better chance to win.
Yeah, I mean, it could be like they're not willing to go into the tax unless they get a certain level of player back. That's a level higher than that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not ideal, but like I'm not disagreeing with you. But I think if there is some truth to Cronin saying, because here's the thing, if there's no truth to him saying he wants to build around Dame, we'll see it tomorrow. Like, we'll know. You know, we'll know. He'll sign Eric Gordon and say it's a vet and blah, blah, blah. Like, we'll be able to tell, right? So we'll be able to find out if there's truth to that statement or not, in my opinion. Other people say he has nothing available. He really, 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 really wants to, but he can't do anything. And I'll say, well, why were you telling me to wait till free agency then, after you told me to wait till the draft? But my point is, like, if there is some truth to that statement, then I assume that they would be potentially willing to go into the tax, but only for a star.
Yeah.
Does that mean, like, oh, well, we should just get rid of Dame? I don't know, because we have the assets to get a star, but...
Well, okay, so the whole big topic today was Embiid, because Harden requested a trade, right? Mm-hmm. What if Jody didn't allow an Embiid trade because of the financial ramifications?
I mean, I don't know. What if this? What if that? Like, I don't think that happened, and I don't think I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, we could say what if to a bunch of different stuff. I don't know. Like, then that sucks. I want a new owner, so I'm definitely not going to defend her, but that's the thing, though. Like, we'll never, if that's true, we'll never find out. Right?
Yeah, probably not. I mean, Dame would probably... Jason Hahn says, I wonder what GM is as honest as Eric wants Joe to be. Now I'd love if he didn't say that he wants to build a contender around Dame. GMs are paid to lie or inflate the truth for their owners. No, man, lose me with that crap. Joe Cronin has literally said the opposite and done the opposite of everything he does. Like, we need length and size, so he drafts a 6'2" guy. We need non-projects, so we need to get vets, and that was my biggest mistake. And then he keeps all 3 draft picks, and I need a Josh Hart at every position, and then he trades Josh Hart away. Like, this guy has numerous times where he does not know what he's doing, and he says the opposite of what he does, and then he changes his plan. We need flexibility, and then he really didn't have any flexibility, and then it's wait till next time, and all, like, no, it's all just BS. So, like, I mean,
even media guys that are friends with him basically called him out for it.
Yeah.
in his press conference on draft night. Like, that's how you know that it probably shouldn't be excused when people that like him, that are credentialed, that are friendly with him, are grilling him about it. Mm-hmm. At that point, you should sit back and say, okay, well, maybe he's tripping a little bit. Right? If it's just us criticizing him, like, yeah, you can go out there and say, oh, the Blazers Uprise guys just hate Joe Cronin. Okay, whatever. Like, you know, but when it's everyone,
yeah,
everyone with a platform, like, you know, then there's probably some truth to it. Because we're going to have our own opinions, and oftentimes it doesn't really perfectly align with the opinions of credentialed media. when we all align on something, like, you should probably put at least a little bit of stock or thought into it.
Mm-hmm.
That is if you pay attention to what they say.
Yeah.
Which maybe you don't.
Once again, we know that he might be being hamstrung by the people above him, Burt Cole and Jody Allen, but he's also made terrible decisions that should have been moves that weren't affected, like signing people to a minimum or getting protections in a trade or getting more draft picks in a trade, things like that. So he isn't without blame either.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, I didn't think they would actually do this, but I mean, I was hearing rumors that Cronin loves his draft picks and loves the young guys, loves all that stuff like months ago, and then that's why it's funny when he goes up there and says, "Oh, I'm committed to winning with Dame." It's just it's crazy, man. He's just like Olshey. He's just a nice guy, so no one gives him that label.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. You heard a bunch of trade rumors surrounding top 10 picks headed up to the draft. The only top 10 picks that got traded was 7 got traded for 8, and 10 got traded for 12.
Yeah.
And all the teams got who they wanted anyway. Like, the first pick in the draft to legitimately get traded was what? I'm going to look up the draft. What was the first pick to, like, legitimately get traded out of that the range that it was in?
Well, the Kings traded the
24
pick or whatever.
Yeah, to cap dump Rashawn Holmes.
Yeah.
24. 24. After all the rumors about all the movement that was going to happen in the draft, like, 24 was the first pick to, like, legitimately get traded. GMs love their friggin' draft picks, like, that's just kind of what it says to me. Like, Eric, you love the draft, right? And you love draft picks.
Yeah.
GMs, I feel like you're much like a GM in that way, because these GMs just fall in love with these young players because they sit there and they think, what if this dude, I think he can become a star, and if I draft him here and he becomes what I think he can become, it's gonna look really good on my resume.
Yeah, for sure. But I also wouldn't then. Like, if I knew I was keeping all 3 picks, I wouldn't tell Dame I'm trading them, and please sit out so I can give you more value in a trade and then not trade them, Yeah,
I mean, they've done iffy things with their messaging and contradicted himself, and, like, at this point, I'm just focused on what do they do tomorrow? And how does that line up with the the messaging? Like, what are they going to do tomorrow? Because I don't think we're sure of anything. But I think you're going to find out a bit about tomorrow. But based on, this is what? How many free agency streams have we done? 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. This is our 5th free agency stream. Mm-hmm. I expect it to be basically like the first 4.
Yeah.
Which is like, oh, we signed Derrick Jones Jr. Oh, we signed Anthony Tolliver. Oh, we signed Mario Hezonja. We signed GP 2 weeks. Who was 2021? Because Derrick Jones Jr. was 2020, right? Chat.
Yeah.
Who was 2021?
That was the... Wait, no.
That was the year we gave up...
2021 was no one. That was the year we didn't use our mid-level exception.
Oh, Cody Zeller? The Nance
20.
trade was like a month, like in August.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Tony Snell and Cody Zeller and Ben McLemore. And we re-signed Carmelo. I mean, like, every year it's been something like that.
We were just praying that Norm re-signed because we were, much like Grant, we were screwed if he left.
That was actually like the most positive one because Norm re-signed. Because we would be screwed if we got nothing for him. And then we ended up getting... Eric... Yeah, you were at the bathroom when he signed, right? But basically, yeah, that free agency stream was, we're going to be screwed if we lose him for nothing. And then we freaking lost him for nothing with Rocco for nothing. So it didn't even matter. And that was the happiest.
We got the most valuable asset in the league, Eric Gordon's expiring contract.
Eric Bledsoe?
Eric Bledsoe, I mean.
You're foreshadowing on accident. We're going to sign Eric Gordon. Oh, wait, if you sign somebody to an MLE, it has to be more than 1 year, huh?
No, I think I'm going to do 1 year.
Or like team option second year or whatever. Yeah, we're going to sign Eric Gordon, and then we're going to pitch it as a...
It could just be 1 year.
A very valuable expiring contract.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, guys, like every free agency stream has... The happiest one was we got Norm and didn't lose him for nothing, and we ultimately ended up losing him for nothing. So, like... Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's not even a pessimistic thing. It is what it is. Like, we'll see what they do tomorrow. There's options, I guess, but it's going to be interesting to find out. I'm not going to worry about, like, oh, what if we run it back next year, and then at this point next year, like, they turn down this trade because Joey's cheap, and I don't know.
LA Clippers analysis wants to know how Winslow's holding up and thanks us for Norman Rocco. Winslow, fortunately, had an ankle surgery or ankle injury last year, and then after several months after he should have been back, he was having some sort of nerve or ligament or something damage in his ankle. They had to go in for surgery right at the end of the season. And so, yeah, we don't even know if Winslow is going to be medically cleared to play next year, let alone help a team, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Or fortunately, depending on...
Yeah. I mean, I'll read off all the donos in a second. To conclude kind of this segment, my wrath for Joe Cronin is reserved for if Dame gets traded. Like I will criticize him if he goes out and signs Eric Gordon, but I'm not gonna yell about it. I'm gonna honestly, Eric, if I see that come across, I'm probably just going to laugh. Because it's just kind of, it's just comical at that point. And then at that point, okay, well, Dame's probably going to ask out. And then when Dame's asked out, then I'll freaking rage.
Yeah.
We'll see. Like, I'm just not, I don't know. Low expectations means that I'm not going to be over emotional tomorrow, I don't think. We'll see. I could be. I definitely could be. Never underestimate my ability to be emotional, okay? But I'm not stressed.
Don't say any names that you will make you mad tomorrow, like a Kevin Knox situation, you know. Like,
I mean, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. I might as well just tell you guys so you can prepare.
Let's come up with one right now.
Okay.
Chat, help us out. Who can we think of that we sign tomorrow that will have Torrey? Because like MLE. not even Drew Eubanks. Like, what if we sign Drew Eubanks for 3 years, $30 million?
No, I don't think it would be that bad. Let me look at a free agent list. Let's see here.
If we end up re-signing Cam Reddish.
Oh, Eric, I have the perfect name for you. And luckily, I don't think it'll happen. But Dylan Brooks.
Okay.
Is the name. Like,
Dylan Brooks hater now.
I freaking can't stand Dylan Brooks, bro.
Man, now we're getting Dylan Brooks. What about Dylan Windler, says Alex Wolf.
I'd probably rather have Dylan Windler, because at least, you know, he can't, I don't know, he's always hurt, right? So he can't like gritty onto the court. Brady's gonna make me hide him, give him a timeout for spamming. I don't care. I don't like the Ducks. But if I was a Duck fan, I would not claim him. I wouldn't claim him. I can't stand Dylan Brooks, bro. He thinks he deserves $25 million a year and should be shooting 25 shots a game. And thinks that him shooting like what, 30% from three, like being a super inefficient player, he thinks that's due to him not getting enough shots. He is He is too confident in himself. He puts a target on his team's back with the words that he says, and he's a terrible offensive player. Like, just start Thibault, because at least Thibault isn't going to think he's freaking Steph Curry. He knows he's Matisse Thibault. So, and he'll play defense. Like, just keep Matisse Thibault. Don't get Dillon Brooks. That is the one name I will rage.
But they're going to say that they got him for cheap because of his antics, and it was better than any other move they could have made, right?
I would. That's the one name where if we sign him, I'm going to rage. Like, okay, maybe I will rage tomorrow. We'll see. You got to tune in to find out. Only one way to find out. Join us for our free agency stream tomorrow. Perfect promo.
This dude shot 10 of 42 from 3 in the playoffs this year, 23.8%, and said the problem was he didn't jack up enough threes. Not that he took bad ones or wasn't hitting. He said he actually needs to shoot more threes to get a rhythm going than 42 threes in 6 games. That's 7 a game. That's not enough. It's not enough to shoot 7 threes in a game to get your rhythm. You got to shoot more, and that's going to be the answer. Awesome.
Yeah, I don't want him. No, thank you.
Frickin' Chase in our mock-off season, his pitch to him was like, "No, just to be honest with you, we want you to not shoot very much." And Dillon Brooks is like, "Yeah, okay, I'm jacking up more threes than Wemby and stuff," and Chase thought that was like a joke or something and signed him anyway. It's like, there's no way he's going to shoot like 10 threes a game, dude.
Poor Chase. I decided whoever signed Dillon Brooks for the MLE in our mock offseason, I was just going to troll relentlessly. And it was Chase. So I trolled him relentlessly. Because he is bad.
He says instantly best defender.
Best defender on our team. Yay, we can be 20th on offense and defense. He's like the one guy that could maybe make our offense worse than our defense. Bro, like we're going to have Scoot, Sharp, and Dame, right? We're going to keep all 4 guards. Just, all good offensive guards. And Dillon Brooks, I can't wait to see him steal shots from those guys, shooting off the dribble contested pull-up threes at 28%.
Would you rather have Tsunami Poppy? If we're being both a full MO.
Who is that again?
Kelly Oubre.
I'd rather have Kelly Oubre. Sure, give me Tsunami Poppy over whatever the hell you call Dillon Brooks. What's Dillon Brooks' nickname? Let me know, chat.
I'm on his basketball
reference page. So am I, actually. Okay, let's see here. Dude, Eric. Basketball Reference gives out nicknames to like everyone, and it's always stuff I've never heard of. Dillon Brooks is so bad, he doesn't have a single nickname on Basketball Reference.
People are saying trash can.
That's the name. That's the name, guys. Is Dillon Brooks.
Bob the Builder.
Dillon Brooks. I mean, like, we're roasting him. It ain't personal. He brings it upon himself.
Yeah.
Though, like, it's just, he needs some self-awareness as an NBA player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he has none. That's why he's getting that's why he gets roasted by the entire NBA community. You know where he belongs? And I saw a rumor today, Eric.
Houston?
Perfect team for him. The Houston Rockets.
Him and Van Vliet are going to Houston, I guess.
Van Vliet is going to be ready to sign a max contract, see Dillon Brooks signed, and then... I mean, you know what? If he can get a max contract 2 years, that's a lot of money. Why do they not want Harden so that they can pay a max to Fred Van Vliet and then sign Dillon Brooks?
Because they're stupid. None of their moves make sense. So it's like,
why would they need another guard? Well, like they got Amen, they got Kevin Porter Jr., they got Jalen Green. They're trying to outdo us.
I mean, maybe they're trading Kevin Porter Jr. or something, but
oh, that's gonna. Yeah, we're gonna miss out on Dillon Brooks, so we're gonna, Houston's gonna sign him. So then we're gonna trade for Kevin Porter Jr. That's a sneaky name to look out for. Low key.
Who?
Kevin Porter Jr.
Not for us. Like that makes
no for us.
Oh God.
Of course, yeah, it makes no sense. So it makes perfect sense. Yes.
Kenny Martin Jr. maybe.
Both of them. We're gonna get both the juniors. Yeah, Kevin Porter Jr. I mean, Cronin probably looked at his basketball reference page, saw that he was listed as a point guard, shooting guard, and small forward, and thought, oh, yay, another guard, but I can say that he's a small forward. And, he averaged 19 points per game and almost 6 assists.
All right.
And I can say he's a good defender, and people won't know any better because he played for the Rockets.
All right, sorry, I have another. This is a hypothetical, but it's extremely realistic. Okay, let's say by Monday, Dame, Scoot, Sharp, and Ant all still on the roster. We have signed like an Eric Gordon or a guard type or a small forward. So it's going to take minutes from like Sharp bumping up to 3. Okay. And we have a press conference to introduce our free agent signings on the 7th or whatever, and Cronin tries to pitch the idea of just having as much talent on the team and it wasn't worth trading, and we're going to go into it with all 4 guards next year.
I mean, that's what I expect.
That's what you're expecting?
Yes.
I mean, it's not that unrealistic, right? I'm not like...
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, all right? Here's the thing. If I'm Joe Cronin and I do that, well, first, I don't do that, but if I'm Joe Cronin and I do that, I'm just sitting there saying, well, you know what? Like, the Warriors changed the league, right? Because they proved that a jump shooting team could win. Before, nobody thought a jump shooting team could win a championship. Well, why be a trend follower if you can be a trend setter? We're setting the trend of winning it all with 8 guards in our 9-man rotation. And you may laugh now, but 5 years from now, they're gonna say Joe Cronin changed the game.
I was gonna trade Anthony, but then I remeasured him, and he was actually 6'4" now. Oh no! Oh wait, I measured him at 6'3" at 3, but we call him 6'4". Or whatever.
Yeah, except when we strap bricks to his feet, then he's 6'6". What are we talking about here?
Scoot's
measure him in
Wait,
feet, although
measure
him without
at
shoes.
6'2.5", so he's really like 6'3" to 6'3.5". But
shoes are thicker than that anyway. Like what? This is it. Yeah, you're gonna. Here's the thing, guys. You measure without shoes, right? And it's 6'2.5". Okay, so then you put on shoes and it's 6'3.5", and then you round up, so he's 6'4". That's what the NBA used to do. I mean, it's just that's very possible.
Freaking Chase, dude.
What?
Did you see someone accuse me of being the guy who spread the Sharp is 6'8" rumor? And I was like, what? And then Chase responds, yeah, that was totally the guy or something. And I'm like...
And then okay, I've been trying to Chase since then, but Chase, so then you got like mad and annoyed with them, which I can't blame you, right? Because you're already getting like a bunch of haters who just don't think anything you say is just automatically a blatant lie, right? So you got all these haters already that he goes and does that. I mean, Chase, you can't blame Eric for being like if you're gonna fully embrace the ways of the troll, then that's part of the
No, you're gonna-
territory.
yeah, right.
You will occasionally get cussed at for doing that because that is such a troll move that is just beyond. I don't even think any of our mods would do that. That's how trolly that is.
I know, we have some ultimate trolls.
I know. Yeah, Chase worries me sometimes. He's a loose cannon. He makes me feel like I am reserved, which I kind of like it actually, but also it kind of worries me.
Yeah. All right, let's get caught up on donuts.
Yeah. Sorry. Wait, this has been a fun stream. Shout out to Gray Hughes Investigates $5 dono. Do you think Scoot or Sharp will start this year or both? I think there's a possibility that it's both because either Dame's gone or Dame's still here and we don't do anything.
Or we don't sign a small forward, so Sharp starts starting small forward.
Yep. Exactly.
I don't know, if Dame's still here and Ant's still here, then Scoot would be the sixth man still, right?
I mean, Grant leaves, so Sharp starts at the 4, Ant starts at the 3 because he's 6'5", and then Scoot starts at the 2 because he's actually 6'4".
Mm-hmm.
And our team isn't that short compared to a college team, at least. Dennis Fan $2 dono says, "Sup guys?" What's up, Dennis?
What's up, Dennis?
Pim with a $5 dono says, "I think we trade for Kyrie Irving to get another guard." If you want to see Eric,
My
Eric,
body
like,
will just dissolve into,
Yeah.
like at the end of the second to last Avengers movie when they all just or half them dissolve into nothing. That'll be me. My body, you'll just see little dust particles floating away from my body. And then we trade for Harden too. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you want to see Eric die on stream, then I was like, oh, that's too much, and then you went right with it. You that would be so hilariously triggering and bad. Oh man. Let Kyrie go to Phoenix or whatever. Let him go sign a minimum with Phoenix. Because apparently he's going to meet with them. And Gabe was in here. I don't know if Gabe's still here. He said Kyrie's going to Phoenix. I did the math on this, Eric. If they sign and traded for him by sending out DeAndre Ayton,
Yeah.
after they, kept Campaign on the roster, I guess they could trade out Campaign, but assuming they didn't, the max they could sign Kyrie to in that sign and trade would be $22 million. If they traded out Campaign, then it'd be $26 million, $27 million.
Yeah. Someone said that was false, that they weren't missing, and that
Gambo did.
Chris Haynes is washed.
Gambo did. Yeah.
Anyway,
Chris Haynes is washed. I don't know what's going on with him. He, in regards to the Phoenix Suns, he has been completely. Dude, I trust Flex more at this point on the Phoenix Suns than I do Chris Haynes.
There's also I don't know if this is true or not, but it's hilarious, so I'm just going to say it. Apparently, there was some anger in the front office of the Phoenix Suns last night because there was some confusion on some of the new rules, and when after they made the trade for Beal, how this could very well possibly have been they were going to meet with Kyrie, thinking they could do sign and trade Ayton for him on a max contract, and someone didn't know the rules or something. And
that's not even a new rule though.
No, I know, but there's the different aprons and stuff. And
who was that tweet from? I think that tweet was fake.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying it's funny.
Yeah, but I will say this. Don't ask me why I was up at 6 a.m. Okay, just don't. I was listening to Chad Doing on the morning show, which was weird. I was like, this guy sounds like a sleepy Chad Doing. And then it was Chad Doing. I don't know why he was on the morning show today. But
he was just a guest, or he was hosting?
He was hosting.
What?
Yeah, it was very confusing. The last 36 hours of my life have just been hectic and confusing, okay? I'm not even going to go into it. But that was just another thing. What the hell? And he goes on this monologue where he's like, I like Chad, okay? So no shade towards him, but he has to be better with realizing fake tweets, because he goes on this monologue about OG Anunoby. And he was talking about how Masai Ujiri just, like, completely overvalues his own players, which is true. Okay, yeah. So I'm like, yeah, he does. And then he's like, and then there was this report, and I was like, oh no. There's no way he thought this was real. And he's like, this is from Woj. Woj reported that Masai Ujiri wants 10 first-round picks for OG Anunoby. Not 2, not 4. He wants 10.
It's like a ball sack, yeah.
Yeah, it was NBA Central without one of the letters. Like, I think it was
Central.
Without the... Yeah. Without the R. It was fake if you just read the handle. And I'd seen that tweet. My God, Chad, man. I don't blame him because it was early. It was 6 a.m. in the morning. Maybe I would have fallen for that. I mean, I wouldn't have fallen for that. But 10 first-round picks. I'm just hearing him on air. Woj said that. Woj said that. Masai wants 10 first-round picks for OG. It's like, oh my goodness, man. We are already setting up Joe Cronin to be like, oh, there's nothing he could do. I mean, Ujiri wanted 10 first-round picks for OG. Like, he couldn't do anything. We're already planting the seeds. I was laughing.
No stars got traded.
Yep, no stars got traded. So, that was funny. I mean, yeah. So, everybody's falling for false tweets, even... I'm not gonna say it.
Alright, were there more bonus?
Yeah. People falling for false tweets and saying their texts. Yeah, God. Shout out to Slick Mode. $5 dono says Scoot and Sharp are old enough to be at places where they play Welcome to Miami. Keep up the good work, Uprise. Yeah. We could have a starting backcourt next year that can't drink beer. Could be fun. Shout out to Dennis Fan. What's up again, Dennis, with a $5 donut. Says, Evan Turner has me blocked on Instagram since 2018. Well, Evan Turner has me blocked on Twitter since around the same year. So, nice that I have someone else in that club. Thank you for the dono. Lucas Tobias, 20 Rand donation. Says, the player for Portland is OG Anunoby. Small forward, 25 years old, good perimeter defender, and good shooter. OG wants to leave Toronto. Toronto needs a point guard when Van Vliet is gone. After re-sign with Grant and sign with a new center. Yeah, I mean, like at this point, if Hakeem Dame happy and OG would re-sign next year, then I'm okay with trading Ant for. But there's multiple problems. I don't think OG is going to re-sign because he wants a bigger offensive role, and Portland, obviously, with all guards, isn't going to give it to him. And then also, Masai Ujiri, he doesn't want 10 first-round picks, but he wants way too much for OG. Like, Portland would probably have to trade, like, 3 future firsts on top of Simons to get OG, and I don't even know if Ujiri would accept that. That's how delusional he is. And then if OG walks in a year, which would be very possible, like, then we don't have Ant, and we're missing 3 future firsts. That's the problem.
I mean, Toronto, I've been saying this for how long now, Tori? I'm not going to believe any deal with Portland and Toronto will happen unless it actually happens, and then I will just drop my jaw and sit here with a stunned look on my face that they actually found a deal that they agreed upon. So
sure your jaw isn't going to be dropped at what we're giving up, because that's probably what it would be.
Yeah, well, it's going to be that too, but I just would be surprised. I'm also going to be surprised at this point if we trade for anyone in their last year of their contract again that isn't either forcing their way here because they're cheap to get, or we have some sort of deal worked out with them already. So that pretty much rules out like Siakam, probably OG, because he probably would want to see what his role is first. And then a lot of other players. So I would look for players that have multiple years left on their deal so the Blazers know what they're getting into right away. And then also, if they do sign and trade Ant for someone like a Cam Johnson, then you have him under a contract for 3 or 4 years or whatever the contract ends up being. So, I just don't believe a Toronto trade will happen.
Yeah. Shout out to Snackin' K with $2 dono. And he is... I forgot the name of this YouTuber that says this.
I have to say something real quick.
Yes.
Sirloin66 says, if they sign Eric Gordon, you guys need a beating just for suggesting it. We did not suggest that. There was a report today saying these teams are interested in Eric Gordon once he was cut from the Clippers, and the Blazers were one of like 6 teams they mentioned. So that's not our doing. We're just reporting the news.
Why do we need to be assaulted for talking about that? What? We're already assaulted enough emotionally and mentally being fans of this team. We don't need to be physically assaulted. The hell? Man, what is wrong with you? No, don't. Next dono. Jakey, $2 dono says, just saw Damon Lako 10 minutes ago, freaking out. Was Draymond with him?
That was Tuesday night.
Tuesday night. Jakey, $2 dono. Thank you. Snackin' K. Oh, wait, no. I got to read both Snackin' K. He has two $2 donos. Thank you for the double $2 donos, Snackin' K. The first one says, Yodi gang. Eric on Bleacher Report was a huge dub.
I mean, House of Highlights. Was that
House of Highlights? Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah. But you got aggregated. Congratulations on getting aggregated.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Every mainstream media guy is complaining about aggregation, but we'll take whatever aggregation we can get. And then the second dono says, Dame hates Brooks, thankfully. I'm guessing Mo Bamba. Yeah, Mo Bamba.
Yeah, okay. I was a big fan of Mo Bamba coming out of college. I do still think he would be a good pickup for a rebuilding team or a younger team. But can we stop thinking that he's like the answer at backup center? Like he didn't.
Do you
play
think he's
at all
better
for the
than
Lakers.
Eubanks?
I mean, yes, I would take him over Eubanks, sure, but like he's not gonna be like the answer or whatever we've been waiting for at backup center.
I like him as like a biannual target if we ever use that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like half this chat probably doesn't even know what the biannual exception is because we never use it, and we never even really talk about it. When was the last time we used it?
I want to say it was Steve Blake. The year we signed Chris Kaman and Steve Blake, I think. Maybe that wasn't even the biannual exception.
No, I think it was. Madden Mobile says, Teacher Tori, teach me some education. About what? The biannual exception? It's like hard caps you just the same as the full mid-level exception, but it's like, what? $4.6 million? And you can only use it one out of every 2 years? So it's like a version of the MLE, basically. Hard caps the Blazers at $172 million.
Yeah, once we get caught up on donations, we'll go over what all Portland's moves are.
Because you guys are killing it tonight. I appreciate y'all. Andrew Rakestraw, $10 dono. Says, Tori, let's play chess and I'll play the Joe Cronin / Neil Olshey opening. I'll only move my pawns because I'm obsessed with the short pieces. Don't worry, my pawns are as tall as bishops with shoes on. LOL. I love your dodo. I love the chess analogy. As a chess player, I love it. I absolutely love it. Thank you, Andrew, for the $10 dodo. Yeah, if it was up to Cronin or Olshey, they'd play with all pawns. They'll talk about how they need bishops and a queen. You know, we all need a queen, right? But they'll talk about how they need a queen. And then they'll get their queen to the other side of the board and promote it into a pawn. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Davion Daniels, $2 dono, says, does Jeremy come back? Eric, what do you think?
I mean, I'd be surprised if he walks. I think he does come back. I mean, the only scenario where he doesn't come back, in my opinion, is the scenario where we've already basically told Dame we're trading him and they're just keeping him on the sly, which would be terrible. But Um, yeah, I don't know how fast he's going to sign. If he signs pretty fast, I think it's a pretty good sign that the Blazers have something cooking. If he waits to sign, maybe he's just waiting to see if the Blazers can actually pull off something. If he signs with someone else, we're absolutely screwed. So I think
if he's
Dame's
gone,
gone.
I think Dame's gone. Yeah.
If we see he signed with Detroit like an hour into free agency, I think we can start planning the Dame funeral.
GB Productions $2 donut says Scoot, Tyler Hero, Sharp, Grant, Nurkic, starting 5. Go away with Tyler Hero, bro.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's part of a package, Cronin has to find a way to move him for some sort of other picks or assets or a younger forward instead of another guard. I mean, if we trade Dame for another young guard that's on like almost a max contract, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, no Tyler Hero. Thank you for the dome, though. But no Tyler Hero. Caleb Pendergraph, $10 donut, says, just got a job offer today. It's dumb, but I'm hoping... Why is it dumb? Why is you getting a job offer dumb? That's something to celebrate. He says, it's dumb, but I'm hoping it's a good sign. Oh, I reacted too early. Shame on me. I'll restart. Says, just got a job offer today. It's dumb, but I'm hoping it's a good sign for the rest of the Blazers offseason. Also, I feel weird... since I love the Blazers draft, but I hate that it might drive Dame out. It's not dumb that you hope that it's a good sign. I mean, take all the optimistic things that you can get.
Yeah.
Because it's far and few between. Here's the thing. You know, if this team sucks, at least... hopefully this job offer works out for you. At least you got something good, you know? At least you got that, so congrats on the job offer, man. I saw Chat congratulating him earlier, so shout out to Chat for building people up. Shout out to Chat for being positive. Appreciate it, Chat. Jimmy Productions, $2 donut, says if they don't get Draymond, Damian will leave. I don't think it's Draymond or bust, but if they don't get anyone, it's very possible.
If they get Draymond on like a 3 or 4 year deal tomorrow, I think it's pretty locked in that Dame's going to retire a Blazer, so that's one good thing.
Yeah. Have you seen his new court?
Yeah.
His house?
Freaking sweet.
I don't think he wants to go anywhere.
I mean, he's only playing for like 6 more years or something. But...
I know, but imagine like you stuck it out for over a decade, you finally get this insane house built, and then...
But he's also being told that they're going to finally get pieces for him.
I mean... Here, I'm hoping that Harden gets traded to the Heat. Just all the assets that'd be for Dame. Have him for Harden. I mean, you would think, oh, well, taking a suitor off the table doesn't make sense, but I mean, if it comes down to it, I don't think Dame wants to leave in this front office. I don't think he's just going to randomly trade him. I don't know. I'm kind of tired of speculating on Dame, though. I just kind of want to see what happens and then start speculating.
Kyle is back in chat as Eric with a K now. He was Ryan, and now he's Eric with a K.
Are you sure that's him?
Yeah, because that's something that both Kyle and Ryan have said. His last message, he gave it away. Congratulations.
Nice try. You got to do better than that. We obviously can't stop you coming back on like your 200th burner, but you can put in more effort to disguise yourself.
It's always like a one.
Yeah. Like look like you're a normal participant in chat when you come back on your burner, and that way you can not have to make another burner. But sometimes I wonder if these people enjoy making burners, because that's all they do. Shout out to Timothy Ross, $2 dono, says, can't win now, gotta trade Dame. Thank you, Timothy, for the $2 dono. Shout out to Pim, $10 dono, says, I'm getting drunk if we trade Dame.
I don't know if I'm prepared to get drunk, but yeah.
I don't even want to think about it. I stressed about it right after the draft for like multiple days.
It's, you know how like the Stotts stream was like happy, cheerful drunk, and we're cheersing every time someone donated. A Dame trade stream would be like the depressing drunk. Yeah.
Oh, I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, I don't know what that stream was. I don't want to think about it. What we're thinking about? Free agency tomorrow. Okay, I don't even. Why am I going down this road of like, what would that stream look like?
Dame's out recruiting already. We got this.
Yeah. Shout out to Jimmy Productions, $2 dono. If Damian Lillard gets traded, Bucks would be cool. Why? They have nothing.
Yeah, we want something back. They can't even trade any picks.
Like, you're not going to get much for Drew Holiday. They have no picks that they can trade. I mean, it'd be cool to see him with Giannis, I guess, but I want to see him with Giannis in Portland. Not somewhere else. Shout out to Nathan Foley, $2 dono. Jake Layman is his comment.
Jake Layman.
Shout out to JB.YouTube, $2 dono. Says, immediate thoughts on Zach Collins, please. Really underrated? Huh?
Immediate, faster. Come on,
immediate thoughts on Zach Collins.
Faster. Bet him out faster.
I can't, man. I'm not an auctioneer, you know? Really good defensively, can shoot the ball, can pass the ball a little bit now, and also solid rebounder, brings an edge to a team, and he's just really solid. Got underrated because of all his injuries, but now he's quietly become a really good player for the San Antonio Spurs, and I would love to have him on this team. I would even start him over Yusuf Nurkic if we had him, but he's not on this team, so he's probably going to start next to Wemby, and they're going to form a really good front court duo.
Yeah, agreed. I think you and I both agreed if there was a way to get him with the trade exception we have, we'd do it. That's probably our number one trade exception target, right? If we can acquire him.
Yeah, too slow though.
Yeah. Immediate doesn't mean. Yeah, whatever.
I was closer.
Okay. But yeah, it's not going to happen. But Spurs aren't trading him. We don't really have the right pieces to trade for him anyway. And then you have the whole thing like, with the. We let him go for nothing after spending 2 first-round picks to move up to get him, and then we're going to spend more assets to go get him back. That's just funny.
It's Friday, right? Give me your thoughts on Zach Collins as a 4-bar. It's Friday everywhere except for the Pacific time zone.
And Hawaii.
And Hawaii. And Alaska. I don't know how many time zones are in Alaska. I was going to say, give me a 4-bar Friday on your thoughts on Zach Collins, but you shut that down quick. Jimmy Productions, $2 dono, says, 2019 playoffs was really fun. Yeah, winning playoff series is a lot of fun. I agree. Thank you, Jimmy. Appreciate your dono. Yeah, I was thinking that the free agency streams tomorrow on a Friday. I'm just already kind of in that mindset. Yeah. It's Thursday AF. Yeah. Okay. We're caught up on donos. What'd you want to say after the donos?
I remember now.
Dang.
Joey says, what are your thoughts on Ant not having value around the league? That's excuses, man. Excuses.
If you can't sell a guy that was a 21-4 guy on solid efficiency, great 3-point shooter, and just turned 24 years old, if he has no value across the league when he's on a cheaper contract than similar players that are lower caliber and more expensive, I mean, what are you doing? Like, bro, I hate the people that defend Cronin act like he's helpless. It's so funny. They act like he's helpless. They act like he's going down and sitting at a restaurant and like the cooks and the waiter have to come and like bring him good food.
Well, he also is being... They're actually giving him bad food because no one wants him to eat a good meal.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, GMs have a part in negotiating deals. Mm-hmm. Do people not realize that GMs negotiate and negotiation's a skill? So like what you have on the table is partly what you can like negotiate out of the other party. Like, yes, you're not just going to be able to, if like there's not a person out there that could go to the Lakers and say, hey, give us LeBron for nothing, obviously. But to a certain extent, negotiation is a skill, and you're responsible for the deals you get on the table. So the whole argument that, because here's the thing, I was criticizing Cronin after the draft for not like trading the third pick or find someone with the third pick, and I had like 60 different people just sit there and say, what would you have done? What trade should they have done? What deal did they miss out on? Blah, blah, blah. Like, figure it out, execute, get a good deal on the table and do it. Like, that's part of being a GM is finding the right deal. Not finding the right deal once, okay, sure. Twice? But, like, how many times do we have to hear it like, oh, there's just nothing good available? There's nothing much more he could do. Because we've heard that so much, at some point it's an execution problem or it's an intent problem. Like, his intent isn't to trade the third pick, which is really what it was.
Well, yeah, that's going to be my point. So everyone said O'Shea's too attached to CJ, right? He's not going to trade CJ. That's his guy. He's not going to trade him. He won't even explore options for trading him. He won't do it. Like, but why didn't we just get excuses for O'Shea saying, oh, there was never any good moves for him. There was never any good moves. He's not going to trade him for nothing. Why would he trade CJ? Like, what? Like, so, yeah. Like, but now all of a sudden, Cronin's overvaluing his guys, and now we're going to say it's okay because he can just accumulate 6 cards and it's not a problem. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's like, it's just weird.
I agree.
But let's go over what the Blazers actually did. So they did extend a qualifying offer to Matisse Thybulle. They chose not to Cam Reddish. So Cam Reddish is still, they still have his full bird rights technically, so they could re-sign him, but they were scared he would take the qualifying offer of $7 million or whatever it was. So they didn't offer him. I think that's pretty clear that they're not going to re-sign him unless, they completely strike out and have to re-sign him for cheap or something. I think it's a clear indication they're looking at hopefully re-signing Thybulle to somewhere close to that 6.3 number. So, like 318, 420, or 321-ish, maybe up to like 324, but they're really trying to squeeze a lot of stuff in here, so they're probably not going to. And then they had a team option on Kevin Knox, and they chose to decline that today. So it was actually outside of Nas, other than their current starting lineup, that was their biggest contract they had to trade in a trade, and they decided not to keep him, which is a little weird because $3 million is a pretty good contract. So I don't know if it's just them being cheap again, and they just want $1 million, somewhere between $1 million and $2 million for a first year player to $2 million for a minimum contract veteran instead of $3 million. But yeah, it's clearly they weren't going to try to combine Nurk's salary with like Nas and Keon and Knox to try and get someone using other assets. So that avenue's out the door now. So yeah, just I don't know. Then they chose to offer. It's a little different for two ways, but so that you offer them a qualifying offer, so they can sign a contract with another team if they get it, but you pretty much own the rights to two-way players if you want to. So my guess is those guys would both be back on two ways, and you could have 3 two-ways now.
Yep.
And if you've been listening to us for a while, we did mention the fact that, especially with Ibu Baji, that he was hurt and they chose not to cut him. at the end of last year, that was probably a good indication that they were looking to keep him moving forward.
Yeah, and then they signed Malachi Smith on an Exhibit 10, who's a Gonzaga product, which was kind of cool for me as a Gonzaga fan. But
guard.
Yeah, Antoine Davis was the other guy, right?
Guard. Yeah.
I mean, you got two ways, two bigs.
I'm messing with those guys aren't going to play yet.
I assume that it's going to be a summer league tryout and maybe preseason, and then they choose one of those two guys.
We have our G League too, so
yeah.
We do need to fill out a G League roster, so that's what happens. So what they waive them off their Exhibit 10 and then sign them to G League contracts. That's what a lot of other teams do, but we haven't had a G League team, so those kind of contracts haven't made a ton of sense. It's I'd be surprised if those two guys weren't on our G League team unless they really struggle in summer league.
Yeah. Jordan Forbes says Ant would be an all-star if he was in the East behind Trae Young, who is better than Ant in the East. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, just off one team off the top of my head. Tyrese Halliburton.
Jalen Brunson. It's going to be tough.
Brunson's there.
I mean, I think Ant could push an all-star game relatively quickly in the right spot.
He ain't the second best guard in the East, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Murray, $2 Australian donut says, already got my bud for free agency. High hopes. Okay, Murray, have fun. Getting high down under. Shout out to Yasha Kuzmin. Sorry if I messed up the name. $5 donut says, how realistic is this trade? Dame/Isaac to Miami. Hero to Orlando. Lowry plus 3 Miami first plus 2 Orlando first to Portland. I think Portland tries to not take back salary and Hero, unless it's like somebody other than Lowry. Lowry doesn't make sense, so like Caleb Martin and
it would be Lowry isn't expiring. It probably makes sense.
Yeah, he could, but Orlando does have cap space, so figure out how to make that work. I just would not take Isaac back in that scenario. Let Orlando cut him. He only has like $7.6 million guaranteed that they could stretch over 3 or 5 years. I forget, because he has a non-guaranteed the year after, and I forget if that counts for this.
It's $0 this year. They can completely get out of his contract.
That's not what I read.
Last year it wasn't, and then this year triggered the cause, or because he only played 3 games or whatever it was.
Oh, I was just going off Spot Track, so I'm not sure if they had it updated. Due to missing entire 21-22 season, in addition to missing over 21 games, salaries for 2022 to 2023, 2023 to 2024, etc., become partial or non-guaranteed. It says 2023 to 2024, it says $7.6 million guaranteed, fully guaranteed on January 10th. And then 2024 to 2025, it says non-guaranteed. That's what Spot Track says, so I'm not sure. But I generally trust Spot Track. They're not... Because that's Keith Smith.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect with all these complicated stuff and trying to relay them, but regardless, I don't want Jonathan Isaac.
He was going to Miami.
Oh, he's going to Miami. Oh, I mean, maybe they want him. I don't know. If they want him, sure. But that's probably what a Dame trade looks like, though. Something like that.
Yeah. Hopefully, I'm with you. Hopefully, we're not talking about that.
Jimmy Productions, $5 donut says, would you trade Damian Lillard for Joel Embiid? Is it possible? No.
Makes no sense.
No and no. I don't see why Philly would do that.
Why would we do that?
And I don't see why we would do that. Yeah. Not a fan. Okay. So, let's talk a little bit about... So, I wanted to talk about Draymond being kind of the outlier in terms of going and getting maybe a guy that's not like a clear-cut on-ball stopper, even though Draymond can definitely guard well on the ball. Like, better than Cam Johnson. I just think Draymond is an outlier because of how much of a coach he is on the floor, especially defensively.
Yeah, you got your defensive floor guider / counselor / general, however you want to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, like he communicates extremely well, points guys where they should be, and I know people are worried about like his foot speed and athleticism is declining, but he's the type of guy that'll be in the spot a second early. Like, in a second, being in a spot a second early is a long time in the game of basketball. Like, he gets to spots early. I watched a 17-minute video on YouTube, and it was just kind of going into the intricacies of the Golden State Warriors defense last year when their defense wasn't as bad as it was this year. And a lot of it just highlighted how important Draymond was for just like being in the right spot and deterring guys as a help side defender, being in the right spot and challenging guys at the rim, but also pointing guys where to be, like a lot of his communication. Having that quarterback for the defense while you wouldn't have an on-ball stopper, I think that's a scenario where you just hope that Draymond and Jeremy Grant, I wouldn't want Jeremy Grant on guards. I would want it to be a situation where those guys will help protect the rim and Draymond would help kind of quarterback the defense and, just be that like guy that communicates and that sort of thing and just see how that looks defensively. That's why I'm not, against the idea of Draymond. I think he could do a lot for us defensively, and he's the type of guy where, like, if Chauncey's putting Grant on guards and Grant's getting screened out of every play, Draymond's the type of guy to go to Chauncey and point it out. I think Draymond could help Chauncey not be as bad of a defensive coach. So that's why I think Draymond, despite him not being your prototypical, like, lockdown on ball guy, could be a massive help defensively.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think he completely transforms our culture on defense, just the attitude towards defense, the accountability that we've been asking for, and Chauncey was supposed to be all about. That toughness about that scrappiness that we don't want to you don't want to play us. That mindset that Chauncey is once again said that this team is going to have. That's Draymond Green, whether it's to a detriment at times or not. He does transform a defense to being like that, and I think he would be a game changer for us. I just don't know how realistic it is to get him, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, we'd be adding two guys that have that edge to him, because I think Scoot has that edge as well. Like, Scoot has just insane energy on the court, man. Like, one thing I love about Scoot is how excited he gets for his teammates. Like he'll, like, guys will throw down a dunk and, like, yell and flex a little bit. He's the type of guy that'll do that for his teammates. Like, his teammate will throw down a dunk and he'll, like, get hyped like that, like it was his own. I think it's sick. He has an edge to him. Mm-hmm. And if you come out of the offseason, while the fit is a little questionable, but come out of the offseason with Scoot and Draymond, edge, just two guys with an edge, I don't think Scoot is going to be a good defender right away, but I think he has that potential. And I think he'll have the mindset and the motor to do so, and the body to do so. Then I think he has a chance to guard most twos. I mean, when you look at some other guys, Bruce Brown, Lou Dort, they're able to guard pretty much every shooting guard well. And they're similar size, Scoot has long arms. We don't know his standing reach, but I think his standing reach is pretty tall for a guy that's 6'2". And he can jump. Like, I think there's a chance that Scoot will be able to defend some twos and bring that, energy and edge to the court. And I think Scoot will be a guy long-term that will be a really good leader. Having Draymond on top of that is something that I want to see. Because Dame hasn't really had, like, a guy like Scoot on the perimeter with that edge to him that can put pressure on the rim like him, but then also hasn't had a guy like Draymond that will hold guys accountable and quarterback a defense. And I'm just curious to see what that looks like. So that is what I'm hoping for. I want to see Draymond Green in a Portland uniform.
I want to say shout out to whoever was watching last stream and shortly thereafter tweeted at Draymond Green that he was washed and was a system Golden State player and could never win a ring in a city like Portland. That was nice. I saw you got tagged in that. So that's what we need. That's the kind of mindset we need, is to get Draymond with an edge here, right? So yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, just trying to think of a way to make it work outside of him taking the MLE is just going to be really hard to figure out how to do that, or to think that the Golden State does something.
Definitive One says Draymond and Billups would never see eye to eye. Draymond would be so frustrated with Billups' incompetence. Well, if that's the case, there's a chance Billups gets fired then.
Yeah.
If Draymond has such a problem with you bring a guy in that's won championships and played under a really good head coach, and he's immediately just, I don't know, like that could result in a new head coach. So I don't even think that's bad. Like, need someone to challenge Chauncey. And need a guy that Chauncey isn't going to be able to make excuses. He got to, Chauncey, the quote is, he wants a dog.
Well,
there you go.
I think, like, if, like, we're running, like, a help or, like, a switch defense or something in a certain situation, Draymond will say, like, dude, that's a horrible defense to run because this guy does this in that situation 74% of the time. And, like, he's like a like a freaking robot when it comes to that kind of stuff. So, like, I think he'll make Chauncey a lot better just by being there. And it is a lot like a Ben Wallace type. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm hoping for. It's going to be hard to make it happen, but we'll see. We'll see. If that was Cronin's master plan and he made it happen, like, I will give him some props. Without knowing 1000% what else is on the table, like, I won't be critical of it. Let's just say that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's mostly just Dame would have to get him to come here, right? Want to choose this situation over Golden State?
Yeah, but also, I mean, like, how much of it will come down to money and how much will Golden State offer him with how much they'd have to pay in tax on top of that. Like, Bob Myers isn't there anymore, so, who knows if Mike Dunleavy Jr. wants to go, in a different direction. They were the 6th seed last year, lost in the second round. I don't know. Like, I think there's other things that could lead up to it where it wouldn't necessarily automatically just be Dame. But Portland would probably have to overpay him. I don't know if a GM deserves props for overpaying a guy, but if we keep Dame here, like, I'm cool with it, So that's where I'm not going to criticize him, basically, is what I should say. If he gets Draymond, I might criticize other moves, filling out the roster, but it would be a good day if we get Draymond tomorrow.
Oh, for sure.
Shout out to Raiden, $2 dono, says, treat yourself to a Grimace shake. Hashtag happy birthday Grimace. Yeah, what's this trend? Weird TikTok trend? I don't know. I keep seeing TikToks and basically it kills you or something. I don't know what the shake does. So Raiden is trying to kill us with a $2 dono. Thank you, Raiden.
Yeah, that's not true. Grimace is a character mascot thing for McDonald's, and they're celebrating his birthday by having the Grimace meal right now. And it comes with some weird milkshake, yeah.
Have you seen those TikToks, Eric? Have you seen that trend?
I don't.
The Grimace shake videos?
No.
Basically, they drink the Grimace shake, and then, like, the camera snaps to the next scene, and it's, like, them laying on the ground, like with the shake all over them. It's just a stupid TikTok trend.
Murray says he tried to donate, and YouTube took his money. Just tell us what you want to say. We'll read it. You don't have to worry about it.
Was it the one about you having high hopes?
Probably did another one.
Shout out to Iosu Estremura with the 5. What's up?
What's up, Josh? How you doing, man?
Oh, I thought you were about to say something. €5? Is that a euro?
Yeah.
I don't have my cheat sheet up. That definitely doesn't exist. €5 dono from Iosu. Thank you, Iosu. Says, guys, it's been a while. Hope you are great. Hoping Cronin cooks. Otherwise, we lose Dame, and that would kill me. Hopefully he cooks, man. It's good to see you. It's always cool seeing people from the past that we haven't seen in a while. So I'm glad you checked in. Good to see your name in chat again. Appreciate the dono. Where do you think Harden ends up?
Clippers, probably.
For what?
Just basically crap.
Really?
I think they maybe get Terrence Mann out of it, but yeah. I mean, Philadelphia was maybe going to lose him for nothing tomorrow, so I think they're going to, yeah.
I mean, but he opted in. They could just say, "No, we're not trading you, right?"
I mean,
Which is messy, but Daryl Morey's already played that game with Ben Simmons. Like, if they're getting nothing back, why don't they just hang on to him?
I'm pretty sure he would have just opted out then. They probably have some cooking already. Murray said, Joe hired me to kidnap Maury's close friends and family before the talks. Yeah, that talks that didn't even happen. That's cool. You got kidnapped for nothing or kidnapped someone for nothing.
Is that what your dono message said? Because it would make sense why YouTube said no.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't talk about kidnapping people in a donut message.
Rest in peace to your money. Yeah, I think New York's a dark horse. I think it'd be okay going to New York, and they have all those picks and like an RJ Barrett. And New York could use another star.
And then just for the record, tomorrow free agency starts at 3 p.m. Pacific time, approximately 15 hours from now. But we will be live hopefully around 2 p.m., about an hour beforehand, so we can discuss everything. And, of course, if the Blazers make a move or something happens earlier, we might have a stream earlier in the morning, too.
Yep.
And, yeah, so the stream should start exactly like 14-ish hours from now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll let you guys know if it's going to be a little later. Or we'll tag everyone in the Discord if it's a little earlier. If the Blazers do something, so. We'll take questions, I guess, and wrap up this episode with answering questions. Life advice or basketball? We'll take either.
What do we see Cleveland doing?
I've heard so many weird rumors around them, and I don't know how much to believe them.
Did you hear that Windhorse? There's going to be something super unusual that they do or something.
Okay. Like, I've clowned Windhorse and think, like, oh, he never breaks anything, but as I've started really paying attention to him, lately, he foreshadows a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
He foreshadowed John Collins to the Jazz. He doesn't bat 100%, so maybe they do nothing. But, like at this point, if Cleveland does do something really weird, then I am willing to just put stock in whatever he says. Jackson says Garland for Paul George. That would, yeah. I mean, like, what would weird be? Probably something like that, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't get the Garland trade stuff, but yeah. They're either going to do something crazy like that or just sign, like, if we don't sign Kelly Oubre, that would be the place for him to go. Like, they're going to use their MLE to try and get, yeah. a small forward player.
Murray asks, do you guys look to score in the paint or mid-range /3? 3-level scorer, Murray.
Paint for me.
I'm a 3-level scorer. I played good tonight in rec.
Good start rec again.
What's up? Yeah, the Tuesday, Thursdays. The weekend league's not going to start till like August.
We won by 36 tonight, so.
Nice. Yeah, I hit a few mid-range pull-ups. I was being guarded by a point guard, so he's shorter, so just kind of hit some mid-range pull-ups over him. Had some really good finishes. Couple really good up and unders. And hit some threes, shot better today. 3-level score. At least when I play indoors. Outdoors, might as well be a paint guy like you. Shoot, last run we were both at, you shot better than me. I couldn't make anything. Definitive One says Cavs can probably see Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland will never be good defensively. They look better with Mobley, Allen, Okoro, but with a Rondo type, they'd be easy money. I like them, like, if they had Paul George and like a Monte Morris seems like he would make some sense for them. I feel like that lineup is better than Garland with Okoro or Garland with Osman. Do you agree?
Yeah, probably.
Morris just fits because he's not going to make mistakes, not going to try and do too much, can knock down threes. Isn't a horrible defensive player. And then you got Paul George defensively. I mean, maybe they'd go big with Mitchell at the point. I don't know. Maybe they'd go for a big point guard, though. Maybe DeLon Wright, you know, another Wizards guard. I'm not sure. If it's not Paul George, I have no idea what they would try and do.
I mean, we do realize they were number 1 in defense this year.
Yeah, so I don't know.
So how can it not work?
I mean, well, they're going to do something weird, so maybe it's weird that they think it can't work.
I'm asking definitive.
Yeah. Any other questions, chat?
Hey, I have a question for you, Tori.
Okay, go ahead.
What did you think of the Harrison Barnes extension today?
Yeah, it's more than Aeromancer offered him in our mock offseason. Yeah, he's... I don't know. It's a little rich for me. 18 mil. It's like, if Norman Powell isn't worth that over 5 years, like, why is Harrison Barnes getting that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's just a solid role player. Like, I don't know. Like, it's probably what he's worth. It was such a mundane signing. I don't really have any thoughts on it, to be honest. Do you have thoughts on it?
Just interesting having it happen today versus letting him get to free agency tomorrow.
Yeah, because they would have had cap space.
Yeah, they also...
That's probably not a good thing because that eliminates a Draymond suitor, which might make it harder for the Blazers to get him.
Yeah. They also, I think, got worried about a couple teams giving over-the-top offers for him. So, I kind of wanted to keep the team together.
Yep. My DoorDash just got here.
Nice.
Yeah. So, if there's any other quick questions, we'll be live again tomorrow at 2 p.m. So you'll be able to ask us stuff, and during free agency, there's a flurry at the start, but it goes by pretty slowly, so we'll have time to answer whatever. What did I get? I got Del Taco because I haven't eaten all day. So.
Can I pull a wind horse?
Right now, can I get my food out of the? It's not that cold, but let me get my food first, okay? And then you can pull your wind horse.
Oh, it's just gonna take a second. But
okay, normally Windhorse like, normally he drags things out. Nah, go ahead. Oh, that one in the stream. Normally he drags things out and has all these cinematics, so I was thinking, oh, this is going to take a while. All right, what's your Windhorst
There's
finger
something going on in a particular Eastern Conference team's front office, and they are talking about making moves that make no sense with their current roster. So look for some sort of like very big, weird trade or something out of left field from the Brooklyn Nets tomorrow.
The Brooklyn Nets. There you have it. We'll see. We'll have you guys covered with that free agency live stream going live 2 p.m. tomorrow on the main channel. So make sure you're subscribed to that. Blazers Uprise without the live. It's just Blazers Uprise.
And Bubba with the CA $2 donation. Thoughts on Bilal? What's his ceiling?
He could be, I think his ceiling is an all-star caliber player. I think he has a pretty high ceiling.
Yeah, definitely high.
Jackson, I think that would, I mean, that sounds like something that wouldn't make no sense. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, looking forward to tomorrow, guys. Hopefully you can join us. If not, we'll catch you some other time. Thank you to Bet Online for sponsoring the stream. Any final words, Eric?
Thanks everyone for watching. Hope to see you all tomorrow, whether it's a joyous occasion or a depressing stream, or like Tori said, is going to try to do is just be even keel like Dame time. Hope to see you all there.
Yep. Have you guys covered. Looking forward to tomorrow. With that being said, that's a wrap. We're out of here. We'll catch you next time. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.